Today on the Man-Cade, the big question is, should you be excited about Arcade 1UP's 2021 lineup revealed at CES? The short answer is, oh yeah, you should be. And the long answer is totally this video. CES 2021 is held virtually this year, which really sucks because I planned on going there this year to Vegas just to be in and around there and primarily to see the latest Arcade 1UP stuff. As a game reviewer for 10 years, an editor and site director and magazines and print and all that stuff, I really loved going to E3 every year. That was unless you've been there, you have no idea. I mean, the rush of paying, $15 for a cheeseburger is unbelievable. You'll never get that in your life. Well, maybe now you will, but back then that was pretty awesome. So, but all kidding aside though, CES would have been fantastic, and not because of the adult entertainment. I'm talking really about the Arcade 1UP. I probably wouldn't have went anywhere else.
And the Oscar goes to...
So they had their lineup today. They revealed it, and they gave some little hints on Facebook, and I figured some of it out, and I was totally wrong on others. But let's go through that lineup, and then as we go through, we'll do more videos. I guess, pretend there's more than one of me here. So let's look at the first cab. We have XMen, 4-player XMen. People have been dying for this. Right next to The Simpsons, but I gotta say, The Simpsons kind of gets a little old after a while, but XMen, it's a classic. So you got the X-Men 4-player in the cab, you got Captain America and the Avengers, so you can play as the Vision, I can't even remember, Captain America, Iron Man, the Vision, I want to say Hawkeye, but maybe I'm thinking of Spider-Man. But let's go with Hawkeye, and we'll go with White Vision, because I remember going, why is Vision white? Anyway. And then you also have, in that cab, you have Avengers in Galactic Storm, which is a 1995 fighting game by Data East thrown in there. Not a huge fan of that game, but I certainly haven't spent enough time with it. I know that, of course, it was released during the heyday of the Street Fighter craze. And you gotta go big or go home if you're gonna, pull that off and get sort of any attention. But still, it's a great addition to a superhero-themed cab, absolutely. The next cabs people have been clamoring for, and this is kind of a polarizing issue in terms of, online arcade people fighting back and forth. You either love this or you don't. And it's the Dragon's Lair cab. And Dragon's Lair features the Dragon's Lair game, obviously, Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp, and Space Ace. I didn't mind Dragon's Lair. I was not very good at it. It was the game. It was like 50 cents, in the arcades, but it looked amazing. You walked into an arcade, you saw Dragon's Lair, jaw drop. It was pretty amazing. People who, didn't like arcades or anything like that could instantly, look at Dragon's Lair and be interested as to what was going on the screen. However, I'm more of a Space Ace guy. This is a weird story, but I discovered Space Ace on the same day the Challenger blew up in 1986. Sort of a weird day. I woke up to a phone call that had exploded. I'm a Canadian in Canada. I was on the road in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and a former sound tech called me up to tell me this, as if it, really affected me somehow. But he laid that on me. I had the whole day because I didn't play until night, so I went to the arcade in Thunder Bay in this mall, and I discovered Space Ace. I also discovered Comet, the pinball machine, at the same time, and I also discovered that the Taco Time in this particular mall in Thunder Bay sold Mr. Pip. Now, I hadn't had a Mr. Pip since I was a young person. At that point, I think it was 19 years old, and I hadn't had Mr. Pibb in probably 10 years or more. So I was like, wow, this was an amazing day. So everything made a kind of an impression on me. So I became a Space Ace guy. And I didn't make a lot of money as a musician, especially in that band. But I would go there every day during the day, and it's like a beautiful mind of the Queen's Gambit. I would come home, and I'd be like, I'd come back to the hotel room and write down all the moves. I don't know why I didn't think of taking my piece of paper to the arcade. But anyway, and I worked out, by the end of that week, I'd spent about $8 billion, and I'd beat the game, so that was pretty amazing. Even years later, when I went back to it, when Digital Leisure in the early 2000s were putting Dragon's Lair and Space Ace on anything that moved. You know, birth control packets and pregnancy tests. No, I'm just kidding. But they were putting Dragon's Lair on pretty much everything. And that was, I went back to Space Ace, and I didn't beat it, but I got pretty darn close, just with that muscle memory of that particular game. So the cool thing about that, after all that, is that Space Ace fans like me, from way back in 1986 even, will get their own cab. So it has the same game as Dragon's Lair 2, but it looks like Space Ace. And that's the I don't know, that's the kind of killer for me. I think I gotta have that one. Maybe the Dragon's Lair 2, but I'm gonna get yelled at, so I better only get one. The next one, very cool, very cool. And some people would have, you know, some weird connotations with this, but or weird theories about it, but it's Killer Instinct, and people have been dying for this cab. So this cab comes with Killer Instinct 2, it's hard to say, Battletoads, the arcade version, and Battletoads and Double Dragon together. And the reason I say, you know, this kind of a maybe conspiracy theorist, is that Killer Instinct and Battletoads, etc., were made by Rare, which at the time was tight with Nintendo. And I can't even remember if they were part of Nintendo at the time they did that, but of course they later split off and became a Microsoft subsidiary. I think they're on their own now. I can't remember. I guess you could. There was only some way I could check, you know. But anyway, I'll do my homework later. All right, so that's going to be a really cool cab for fighting aficionados who love the Killer Instinct product. The Killer Instinct game. The next cab that's getting a lot of attention is the Atari Legacy cab. And we've kind of seen this before, but it's kind of cool in a stand-up cab. So we have Asteroids Deluxe, Centipede, Major Havoc, Missile Command. We have Aka R. I'm not familiar with that game. I got to check that out. Crystal Castles, Millipede, Gravatar, Liberator, Space Duel, and of course Tempest. And it comes in a Tempest cab, and that cab looks pretty sweet. You might not be a fan of Tempest, but that cab looks pretty darn cool. The next one up is something we've seen before, but in a head-to-head cab, but it's the Capcom Legacy Edition cab. And this is gonna make some of you want to sell your Street Fighter cabs or your Final Fight cabs, because now it's like, you know, peanut butter and chocolate they've mixed together. So on this cab, and bear with me, you're going to get the original Street Fighter. You're going to get the Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, the Street Fighter 2 World Warriors, the Street Fighter 2 Turbo, the Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting, the Street Fighter 2 the Super Street Fighter 2 New Challengers, Darkstalkers, which is a really cool edition, love that. And then you're going to get your Final Fight, your Ghosts and Goblins, 1944, Commando, and Strider, all 12 games in one gigantic Capcom Legacy Edition cabinet. And it looks like Street Fighter 2, that's the cabinet. It's not the Street Fighter 2 CE Edition, but the Street Fighter 2 cab, which looks pretty sweet. So then, going from there, we get into some other very cool things. And we've seen this before too, but you might like this in a stand-up edition. It's the Bandai Namco Legacy Edition. And we have PacMan, PacMan Plus, PacMan, PacMania, PacLand, Pac and Pal, Super PacMan, Galaxian, Galaga Classics, Dig Dug 2, Mappy, and Rompers. You're gonna go, what? Rompers? What's Rompers? Well, Rompers it's a maze game. It was only released in Japan, and it was made by Akira Usakura, who was the designer a year before of Splatterhouse. You probably played that one. Pretty cool. The last one I am insanely excited about for bizarre reasons that can only be classified as, oh, you're old and nostalgia, but wow, we can't. This is the best. It's called the Pong 4-player pub table. And this thing looks full height, looks great. It's round, you're gonna see pictures of it. And it features Pong. It gets right back to basics. Pong, Quadra Pong, Pong doubles, Pong sports, and all those, yeah, okay, those are pretty good. But it throws in Circus Atari, wow. Super Breakout, double wow. Warlords, extra wow. And Tempest on top of that, super duper wow. So this thing is, and it looks great. Like, this looks like retro 19, yeah, you know, maybe you had to be there, but the brown and the colors and the yellows, and it looks amazing. So you want to be part of that. You want that in your house. I want that in my arcade. I need a bigger area for my arcade because of this stuff. So this is exciting. This is a really exciting lineup. And I know that we've seen some of it before, but trust me, Arcade 1-Up seems to have these little surprises. I know a lot of people were thinking there was going to be a Donkey Kong cap, and Nintendo is notoriously protective of their IP. That's never going to happen. I really don't think that's ever going to happen. But Tron, a lot of people want Tron. I want Tron. And I'm hoping that's got to be coming. You've got to make that cabinet. You make that cabinet, I'm there day one, absolutely. And I think that a lot of people would. So thanks for tuning in to Moxxi's Man-Cade today. Very exciting times ahead. I'd get your pre-orders in quickly when those things happen. So on your way out, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say about these cabs, whether you're up, whether you're down, whether you're whatever, right? You know, send me a thumbs up. It doesn't cost anything. And hit that subscribe button. You can do it. It's really easy. You just press your finger or your mousey thing, the cursor, on that subscribe button, and you're going to get more content like this. And let's have some fun. That's what we're here for. All right. See you next time.